The lunch rush at Bellicera was always chaos, but today felt particularly brutal. Sofia Moretti had been on her feet for 6 hours straight, balancing trays of pasta and wine, smiling through the exhaustion that made her arches scream with every step. The upscale Italian restaurant in Midtown Manhattan catered to expense-account crowds. Businessmen who barely looked at her face, tourists who complained about portion sizes, and the occasional celebrity who expected to be recognized and fawned over. At 24, Sofia had been waitressing for 3 years while putting herself through night classes at Hunter College. Business administration because she had dreams bigger than carrying plates for entitled customers. But dreams required money, and money required enduring shifts like this. Table 12 needs their check. Marcus, the host, called as she passed. And Table 7 is complaining their carbonara is cold. On it. Sofia grabbed the check folder and headed to Table 12, her smile automatic and practiced. The elderly couple there were sweet, at least. Tourists from Iowa who'd tipped well and treated her like a person instead of a servant. "Thank you so much, dear," the woman said, patting Sofia's hand. "You've been wonderful." The $20 tip on a $60 bill made Sofia's smile genuine. "Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your trip." She was clearing their plates when the raised voice from Table 7 caught her attention. "Great. The carbonara complainers." Sofia approached with her best apologetic expression. "I'm so sorry about your meal. Let me get that remade for you immediately. It's been sitting here for 10 minutes. The man interrupted, his face red with irritation. "I'm not paying for cold food, and I want to speak to your manager." Of course he did. Sofia's stomach sank. "I completely understand. Let me get Mr. DeLuca for you. Now. Get him now." Sofia retreated, her professionalism cracking slightly. She found Anthony DeLuca in the kitchen, berating one of the line cooks in rapid Italian. The restaurant's manager was a compact man in his 50s, always impeccably dressed, with slicked-back hair and a temper that everyone tiptoed around. "Mr. DeLuca? Table 7 wants to speak with you. Their carbonara was what?" He spun on her, eyes flashing. "Cold? Let me guess. You let it sit under the heat lamp while you chatted with customers." "No. I brought it out immediately, but they took a while to." "Are you arguing with me?" DeLuca's voice rose. "Are you seriously making excuses right now?" Sofia bit back her response. She'd learned early that arguing with DeLuca only made things worse. "No, sir. I just wanted to let you know they're requesting to speak with you. Because you screwed up. Again." He pushed past her. "You're lucky I don't fire you on the spot." She'd heard that threat before. DeLuca loved holding it over the staff's heads. Loved the power of keeping them scared. Sofia returned to her section, taking orders at Table 15 while watching DeLuca smooth-talk Table 7 out of the corner of her eye. He was good at that, all charm and apologies to customers, all venom to his employees. 20 minutes later, as the lunch rush finally started to ease, Sofia was refilling water glasses at Table 9 when she felt eyes on her. She glanced up and found herself locking gazes with a man at Table 4. A table she wasn't assigned to, but one she'd noticed when he'd arrived. He was impossible not to notice. Mid-40s, dark hair with distinguished silver at the temples, wearing a suit that probably cost more than Sofia made in 3 months. Sharp cheekbones, intense dark eyes, and an air of authority that made other customers instinctively lower their voices when he passed. He'd arrived alone, ordered in fluent Italian, and had been working on a laptop while eating his lunch with the focused efficiency of someone who didn't waste time. Now those intense eyes were fixed on her with an expression she couldn't quite read. Sofia quickly looked away, returning her attention to the water glasses. She'd learned not to make too much eye contact with customers. Some took it as invitation, others as insolence. Better to be professionally invisible. She was heading back to the service station when her foot caught on something. A briefcase someone had left jutting into the aisle. Sofia stumbled, her tray of empty water glasses tilting dangerously. She managed to catch most of them, but one slipped, falling in slow motion toward. Strong hands caught it before it hit the floor. Sofia looked up to find the man from Table 4 standing, the rescued glass in his hand, a slight smile playing at his lips. "Nice save," he said, his voice a deep rumble with the faintest trace of an accent. Italian, she thought, but Americanized by years in the States. "Thank you," Sophia breathed, her heart still hammering from the near disaster. "That could have been bad. Would have been expensive," he agreed, handing her the glass. His fingers brushed hers, warm, calloused despite the expensive suit. "You okay?" "Yes, just clumsy." "Thank you again, Mr. Luca." He didn't offer a last name. "And you're not clumsy. Someone left their bag in the walkway. Happens." He was still standing close, and Sophia became aware of the attention they were drawing. Other customers glancing over, Marcus watching from the host stand with a frown. "I should get back to work," Sophia said, stepping back. "But thank you. Really." Luca nodded, returning to his table. But Sophia felt his gaze following her for the rest of her shift, a prickling awareness at the base of her spine. An hour later, she was balancing 3 plates of pasta when disaster struck. The kitchen door swung open just as Sophia approached from the other side. The collision was inevitable. The door slammed into her tray, sending plates flying. Sophia watched in horror as fettuccine alfredo and penne arrabbiata arced through the air, landing with spectacular splashes across the floor and, God, no, across the front of Mr. Jenkins' suit. Mr. Jenkins was a regular, a hedge fund manager who came in weekly and tipped poorly. He was also a friend of the owner. "What the hell?" Jenkins jumped up, pasta sauce dripping down his $700 suit. "Are you kidding me?" "I'm so sorry." Sophia grabbed napkins, trying to help, but Jenkins swatted her hands away. "Don't touch me. This suit is worth more than you make in a month." The restaurant went silent. Every customer turned to watch, and from the kitchen emerged Anthony DeLuca, his face already red with rage. "What did you do?" DeLuca's voice was deadly quiet as he took in the scene. The ruined food, the sauce-covered regular, the mess spreading across the floor. "The door opened just as I—" "The door opened?" "The door." DeLuca's voice rose. "You're blaming the door for your incompetence?" "I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just explaining. You just cost me a $300 order and humiliated one of our best customers." DeLuca was screaming now, his face purple. Other diners watched, some with sympathy, others with that particular fascination people have for public humiliation. "You're useless. Absolutely useless. I've told you before about paying attention. Mr. DeLuca, I'm sorry, but it was an accident. Don't interrupt me when I'm talking." His hand flew up before Sophia could react, the slap landing across her cheek with a crack that echoed through the silent restaurant. Sophia stumbled backward, her hand flying to her face, shock and pain and humiliation warring for dominance. Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Not here. Not in front of everyone. The restaurant had gone from silent to holding its collective breath. Even Jenkins looked uncomfortable now, the anger in his face replaced by something like shame. "Get out of my sight," DeLuca hissed. "You're done for the day. And don't expect full pay. I'm docking you for the lost food and the cleaning bill for Mr. Jenkins' suit." Sophia wanted to argue, wanted to point out that hitting employees was illegal, that the collision had been an accident. But she'd learned long ago that justice was a luxury poor people couldn't afford. She needed this job, needed the money for tuition, for rent, for the life she was trying to build. So she just nodded, grabbed her bag from the back, and walked toward the exit with as much dignity as she could muster. She almost made it out. But as she passed table 4, a voice stopped her. "Wait." Sophia turned to find Luca on his feet. His expression transformed from pleasant to something cold and dangerous. He wasn't looking at her. He was staring at DeLuca with an intensity that made the temperature drop 10 degrees. "Did you just hit her?" Luca's voice was quiet, but it carried through the restaurant like a blade. DeLuca's confidence faltered slightly. "This is restaurant business, sir. I apologize for the disruption. I asked you a question." Luca took a step toward the manager, and Sophia noticed for the first time how tall he was, how his shoulders filled out that expensive suit, how his hands, hanging relaxed at his sides, Looked like they knew exactly how to hurt someone. Did you hit her? She ruined an order and embarrassed a valued customer. So that's a yes. Luca's smile was terrifying. Interesting management technique. Does the owner know you assault your staff? Mr.? DeLuca straightened, trying to reclaim authority. I don't know who you think you are, but you don't come into my restaurant and question how I run things. Your restaurant. Luca pulled out his phone, dialing a number. Let's clarify something, DeLuca. This isn't your restaurant. You're an employee just like her. And unlike her, you're about to be unemployed. Into the phone, he said, Vittorio? Yeah, it's Luca. I'm at Bella Sera in Midtown. Your manager just slapped a waitress in front of the entire dining room. If he's still employed in 5 minutes, we're going to have problems. He hung up. The restaurant was frozen. Everyone watching this collision of power plays unfold. DeLuca had gone pale. You know Mr. Russo? Vittorio and I go way back. Luca's voice was pleasant now, conversational. Nice guy. Terrible judge of character if he hired you, but nice. I'm sure he'll want to handle this personally. DeLuca's phone rang. He answered with shaking hands, and Sophia watched the color drain from his face as he listened to whoever was on the other end. The conversation was brief and clearly one-sided. Yes, sir. I understand. Yes, sir. Right away. He hung up, his hands trembling. When he looked at Sophia, there was fear in his eyes and rage at being humiliated. You, he pointed at Sophia. You're fired. Get out. Actually, Luca interrupted. Mr. Russo would like her to stay. You, however, need to collect your things and leave. You have 10 minutes before security escorts you out. DeLuca looked like he wanted to argue, wanted to fight, wanted to do anything but accept this reversal. But whatever Vittorio Russo had said on that phone call had been definitive. With a last venomous look at Sophia, as if this were somehow her fault, DeLuca stalked toward the back. Sophia stood frozen, her cheek still stinging, her mind trying to process what had just happened. The customers were starting to return to their meals, the crisis entertainment over, but she felt completely untethered. Sophia. Luca's voice was gentle now. Are you all right? I don't know. I just lost my job. No, wait. I didn't lose it? I'm confused. You still have your job. DeLuca doesn't. Luca gestured to the table he'd been occupying. Why don't you sit for a minute? You're shaking. She was. Sophia let him guide her to the chair, her legs suddenly unreliable. Luca signaled to another server. A girl named Jessica who'd always been kind, and murmured something. Jessica nodded and disappeared into the kitchen. I don't understand, Sophia said. Why did you do that? You don't even know me. I don't need to know you to know that hitting an employee is wrong. Luca's voice was matter-of-fact. And I happen to have some influence with the owner. Some influence? You got him fired with one phone call. Vittorio values my opinion, and he has strict rules about how his employees are treated. DeLuca violated those rules. Luca's expression darkened. He's lucky all I did was get him fired. If this were my restaurant, the consequences would be much worse. There was something in his tone, a promise of violence barely restrained, that sent a chill down Sophia's spine. But strangely, she didn't feel afraid. The violence wasn't directed at her. Jessica returned with a glass of water and a cold compress. For your face, she said sympathetically. That was insane. Everyone's been waiting for someone to put DeLuca in his place. Sophia pressed the compress to her throbbing cheek, the cold a relief. What happens now? Now, a new voice said. We figure out how to fix this mess. A man approached their table. 50s, gray hair, expensive suit, the air of someone who owned things. Vittorio Russo, Sophia guessed. Ms. Moretti, I'm Vittorio Russo. I own Bella Sera and 6 other restaurants in the city. I'm deeply sorry for what Anthony DeLuca did today. It was unacceptable, and it doesn't reflect the values of my establishments. Thank you, Mr. Russo. I'd like to offer you a few things. First, your job is secure. Second, I'd like to cover any medical expenses if you need to see a doctor about your face. Third, I'm giving you 2 weeks paid leave to recover, physically and emotionally. And fourth, he glanced at Luca. I'd like you to consider a promotion. Sophia blinked. A promotion? We need a new manager for Bella Sera. You've been here 3 years, you know the operation, and the staff respects you. I'd like to offer you the position, with appropriate salary increase and benefits, of course. Mr. Russo, I'm honored, but I'm just a waitress. I don't have management experience. You have customer service experience, you're studying business administration, and most importantly, you care about people. That's what makes a good manager. Russo smiled. Plus, Luca recommended you. Sophia turned to Luca, who shrugged. I've been watching how you work. You're attentive, efficient, kind to customers and colleagues. That's worth more than an MBA. How do you even know I'm studying business administration? You had a textbook in your bag when you arrived. I saw it when you stashed your things in the back. Financial Management, 3rd edition. Good choice. He'd noticed. This stranger had noticed details about her life in the brief moments between serving tables. I don't know what to say, Sophia admitted. Say you'll think about it, Russo suggested. Take your 2 weeks, rest, and we'll talk when you're ready. And Ms. Moretti, I truly am sorry. What happened today should never have happened. After Russo left, Sophia sat in stunned silence. Luca had returned to his seat across from her, watching her process with patient dark eyes. Why did you do this? She asked finally. Really, people don't just intervene like that. Not for strangers. Luca was quiet for a moment, considering his answer. My mother was a waitress, he said finally. Single mom, worked 3 jobs to raise me and my sister. She put up with harassment and abuse because she couldn't afford to lose any of those jobs. I watched her come home with bruises, emotional and sometimes physical, and there was nothing I could do to protect her. I was just a kid. His voice was even, but Sophia heard the old pain underneath. When I saw DeLuca hit you, Luca continued, I saw my mother. I saw every waitress who's been mistreated by someone with a little bit of power who thinks it makes them untouchable. And I decided I can do something now. So I did. Sophia felt tears prick her eyes. Not from pain this time, but from the unexpected kindness. Thank you. I don't know how to repay. You don't repay kindness. You pay it forward. Luca stood, pulling out his wallet and leaving several bills on the table. Way more than his lunch cost. Take care of that cheek. And Sophia, take the promotion. You'll be good at it. He was halfway to the door when Sophia called out, Wait, I don't even know your last name. In case I want to thank you properly. Luca turned, a slight smile playing at his lips. Marchetti. Luca Marchetti. Then he was gone, leaving Sophia sitting in the aftermath of the strangest, most pivotal shift of her life. She didn't know it yet, but Luca Marchetti would change everything. And not just her career. Sophia took the 2 weeks off, but not to rest. Instead, she threw herself into research, studying restaurant management, reviewing Bella Sera's operations, preparing for a job she still couldn't quite believe she'd been offered. Her cheek healed, the bruise fading from purple to yellow to gone. But the memory of that slap, the humiliation in front of everyone, stayed fresh. Along with the memory of Luca Marchetti's cold fury on her behalf. She tried to look him up online. Luca Marchetti, New York, yielded frustratingly little. A few mentions in business articles about real estate and shipping. A handful of photos from charity events where he appeared in the background. Nothing concrete. Nothing that explained who he really was or why a single phone call from him could get someone fired. Maybe he's just really rich. Her roommate Jen suggested over dinner in their tiny Queens apartment. Rich people know other rich people. It's not that mysterious. It felt mysterious. The way everyone reacted to him, like he was. Sophia struggled for the word. Dangerous. Important. More than just rich. Girl, you're overthinking this. He helped you, you got a promotion, end of story. Now, are you going to take the job or not? That was the question. Manager of Bella Sera meant responsibility, stress, long hours. It also meant a salary 3 times what she'd been making, benefits, and a career path that didn't involve carrying plates until her feet gave out. I'm going to take it, Sophia decided. I'd be crazy not to. Finally, my roommate, the restaurant manager. Think you can get me a discount? Sophia threw a pillow at her. 2 days before she was supposed to return to work, Sophia received a text from an unknown number. How's the cheek? LM. She stared at the message. Luca Marchetti had her number. How did he have her number? She typed, healed. Thank you again for what you did. The response came quickly. Good. Are you taking the promotion? Yes. Start Monday. Congratulations. You'll do well. Sophia hesitated, then typed, how did you get my number? I asked Vittorio. Hope that's not too forward. It was absolutely too forward. It was also kind of flattering. Sophia couldn't decide if she should be concerned or pleased. Why did you ask for it? The response took longer this time. I wanted to make sure you were okay. And I thought maybe, if you're free sometime, I could take you to dinner. To celebrate your promotion. Sophia's heart jumped. Was Luca Marchetti asking her on a date? The mysterious, powerful man who'd gotten her former manager fired with one phone call? That's very kind, but you don't have to do that. I know I don't have to. I want to. If you're interested. Sophia bit her lip, weighing the decision. Every instinct told her this was complicated. That there was more to Luca Marchetti than he'd revealed. But there was also something undeniably appealing about him. The quiet confidence, the protective instinct, the way he'd seen her as a person worth defending. Okay. When? Friday. I'll pick you up at 7. Send me your address. Sophia sent her address, then immediately panicked. What did one wear to dinner with a mysterious, possibly dangerous, definitely rich man who'd saved your career? She called Jen, who squealed with excitement and immediately started pulling outfits from their shared closet. Friday arrived too quickly. Sophia had changed clothes 4 times, finally settling on a simple black dress that Jen swore made her look sophisticated and hot, but like, approachably hot. At exactly 7, her phone buzzed. I'm outside. Sophia grabbed her coat and headed downstairs, nerves making her stomach flip. Outside her building sat a black Mercedes, sleek and expensive, with Luca leaning against the passenger door. He was dressed more casually than at the restaurant. Dark jeans, a black sweater, a leather jacket that made him look less businessman and more dangerous. But his smile when he saw her was warm. You look beautiful, he said simply. Thank you. You look different, less corporate. I'm not working tonight. I'm just Luca. He opened the car door for her. I hope you like Italian food. I know you work at an Italian restaurant, but I love Italian food. I'm Italian, well, 2nd generation. My grandparents came from Sicily. Mine too. Small world. Luca slid into the driver's seat, and Sophia noticed his hands on the wheel. Strong, competent, a thin scar across his right knuckles. I'm taking you to a place in Little Italy. Small, family-owned, incredible food. Not as fancy as Bella Sera, but more authentic. They drove through Manhattan as evening settled over the city, conversation flowing easily. Luca asked about her studies, her family, her plans for managing Bella Sera. He listened with genuine interest, asking follow-up questions, laughing at her stories about difficult customers. You have a gift for this, he observed. The hospitality thing, making people feel seen. I learned it from my grandmother. She always said everyone has a story, and if you're kind, sometimes they'll share it with you. Wise woman. She was. She passed 5 years ago, but I think about her advice all the time. The restaurant Luca took her to was called Nana's, tucked into a side street in Little Italy, the kind of place tourists walked past without noticing. Inside, it was warm and crowded, the air thick with garlic and basil and the sound of Italian conversation. The owner greeted Luca like family, literally. Luca, final meant. It's been too long. The elderly man pulled Luca into a hug, then turned to Sophia with twinkling eyes. And who is this bellissima ragazza? Uncle Sal, this is Sophia. Sophia, my Uncle Salvatore. Your uncle? Sophia felt something click into place. Is this your family's restaurant? My mother's brother, Luca confirmed. I grew up in the apartment upstairs. Salvatore led them to a corner table, refusing to give them menus. I'll bring you the good stuff, the stuff I don't put on the menu for tourists. The food was incredible, real Sicilian cooking, the kind Sofia remembered from her grandmother's kitchen. Arancini stuffed with ragu, pasta alla norma with perfectly fried eggplant, braciole that fell apart at the touch of a fork. This is amazing, Sofia said around a mouthful of pasta. If Bellisera's food was half this good, we'd never have empty tables. Luca smiled. Uncle Sal's the best cook in the family. My mother was good, but he was exceptional. His voice softened. Is exceptional. He still cooks every night, even though he's 75. Tell me about your mother, Sofia said. You mentioned she was a waitress. Luca was quiet for a moment, his expression distant. She worked 3 jobs to support me and my sister after my father died. Waitressing during the day, cleaning offices at night, taking in laundry on weekends. She never complained, never let us see how hard it was. But I knew. I saw how exhausted she was, how people treated her. That's why you intervened with De Luca. Part of it. Luca met her eyes. The other part is that I can't stand bullies. Men who think power means they can hurt people without consequences. I've spent a lot of my life making sure those men face consequences. There was steel in his voice, and Sofia felt that same chill from the restaurant. The sense that Luca Marchetti was more dangerous than he appeared. What do you do? She asked. For work, I tried to look you up online, but there's not much information. I keep a low profile. I'm in import-export, shipping, logistics, that kind of thing. It was the vaguest possible answer, and they both knew it. Sofia set down her fork. Luca, I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I need to know, should I be worried? About why you have so much influence? Why people are afraid of you? Luca was silent for a long moment, his dark eyes studying her. If I'm honest? Please. My family is connected. Not to anything illegal, he added quickly. At least not anymore. But my grandfather and great-grandfather, they were part of the old neighborhood organizations. The kind that provided alternative solutions to community problems. Understanding washed over Sofia. The mafia. We don't use that word. But yes, essentially. My grandfather ran protection rackets, gambling, the usual. My father tried to go legitimate, but he died before he could fully transition. I've spent the last 15 years finishing what he started, building legal businesses, cutting ties with the old ways. But the connections remain. The respect, the fear, it's still there. So when you called Vittorio Russo, I was calling in a favor from a family friend. Vittorio's father and my grandfather did business together. When I vouched for you, Vittorio listened because he knows my word means something. Sofia processed this information. She should probably be running for the door. Should be thanking him for dinner and saying this was a mistake. But looking at Luca, at the honesty in his eyes, the vulnerability of this confession, she found she wasn't scared. Thank you for telling me, she said. I appreciate the honesty. You're not running away screaming? Should I be? No. I promise you, Sofia. I'm not involved in anything that would put you in danger. My businesses are legitimate. I pay my taxes, follow the law. The only thing I inherited from my grandfather is a reputation and some useful connections. I'm trying to build something different. Something clean. I believe you. And she did, somehow. But Luca, if we're going to... whatever this is, I need honesty. Always. No secrets, no protecting me by keeping me in the dark. I can handle the truth. Deal. Luca reached across the table, taking her hand. Complete honesty. Good. So let me ask honestly, why did you ask me to dinner? Was it just to check on me? Or is this something else? Luca's thumb traced circles on her palm, sending shivers up her arm. I asked you to dinner because I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since I saw you at Bellisera. Because you're beautiful and kind and strong. And when De Luca hit you, you didn't cry or collapse. You held your head up and walked out with dignity. That kind of strength is rare. I wanted to know you better. And now that you do? Now I want to keep knowing you better. If you'll let me. Sophia felt her heart race. This was complicated. A man with mafia connections, with a dangerous reputation, with the power to upend lives with a phone call. But he'd used that power to defend her. Had been nothing but honest and kind. I'd like that, she said. But slow. I just got out of a situation where someone had power over me. I need to make sure this is different. It is different. I promise you, Sophia, I will never use power to control you. You're not an employee or an obligation. You're someone I want to know. As an equal. They finished dinner talking about safer topics. Favorite movies, embarrassing childhood stories, places they wanted to travel. Salvador brought out tiramisu that Sophia swore was the best she'd ever tasted. And Luca told stories about growing up in Little Italy that made her laugh until her sides hurt. When he drove her home, he walked her to her building door but didn't push for more. Thank you for tonight, Sophia said. For dinner, for the conversation, for being honest. Thank you for giving me a chance. Luca touched her cheek gently, the same cheek DeLuca had hit, his fingers feather-light. I'll see you soon? I'd like that. He kissed her forehead, a gesture so tender it made Sophia's breath catch. Then he was gone, back to his Mercedes, leaving her standing on the sidewalk with a head full of questions and a heart full of something that felt dangerously like hope. Inside her apartment, Jen was waiting with wine and 1,000 questions. So, how was it? Is he as mysterious and dangerous as you thought? Sophia collapsed on the couch, accepting the wine. More dangerous, less mysterious. And I'm definitely in trouble. Good trouble or bad trouble? Sophia thought about Luca's smile, his honesty, the way he'd looked at her like she was something precious. I'm not sure yet, she admitted, but I think I'm going to find out. Monday morning, Sophia arrived at Bella Sera at 9 a.m., 3 hours before opening, ready for her first day as manager. Vittorio Russo met her at the door with a smile and a thick binder. Your operations manual. Everything you need to know about running this place. Plus my personal number if you need anything. He handed her the keys. The staff is expecting you. Most of them are thrilled about the promotion. You were always well-liked. And the ones who aren't thrilled? There's always resistance to change. But you'll win them over. Just be fair, be consistent, and remember, a good manager protects their staff, not the bottom line. Russo paused. Though protecting your staff usually improves the bottom line anyway. The morning staff arrived at 10. Cooks, servers, hosts, all filing in with various expressions of curiosity and support. Jessica, who'd brought Sophia the cold compress, was particularly enthusiastic. Thank God it's you and not some outside hire who doesn't know how this place works, she said. We were worried Russo would bring in someone from one of his other restaurants. I'm still learning, Sophia admitted, so I'm going to need everyone's patience and input. If you see something that could work better, tell me. I want this to be a team effort. The speech earned her some appreciative nods. But she noticed Marcus, the host, hanging back with a skeptical expression. He'd been at Bella Sera for 5 years and had probably expected to be considered for the manager position. Sophia made a mental note to talk to him privately. The first week was overwhelming. Sophia dealt with supplier issues, staff scheduling conflicts, a broken freezer, and 2 customers who insisted on speaking to the manager about everything from the temperature of their soup to the angle of their table. She worked 14-hour days, going home exhausted but exhilarated. And every night, Luca texted, "How was your day?" She'd respond with the highlights, the victories and disasters, and he'd reply with encouragement or advice. Sometimes he'd call and they'd talk for an hour about nothing and everything. He told her about his businesses, shipping contracts, a warehouse expansion in Red Hook, negotiations with unions. She told him about the restaurant, about learning to balance authority with approachability, about the satisfaction of solving problems. You sound happy, Luca observed during one late-night call. I am. Terrified and overwhelmed, but happy. Is that weird? That's growth. You're building something. On Friday, 2 weeks into her new role, Sophia was reviewing inventory in the back office when Marcus knocked on the door. Got a minute? Of course. Come in. Marcus sat across from her, his usual confidence tempered by something that looked like uncertainty. I wanted to clear the air. When Russo promoted you, I was not thrilled. I figured. I've been here 5 years. I'm older, more experienced. And suddenly you're my boss. He met her eyes. I'm not going to pretend that didn't sting. I understand. And for what it's worth, I think your frustration is valid. You should have at least been considered for the position. Marcus blinked, clearly surprised by her directness. You do. Yes. But Marcus, I'm here now, and I'm going to do this job to the best of my ability. I can either do it with your support or despite your resistance. I'd prefer the former, but I'll manage either way. Sophia leaned forward. What would help? What would make this easier for you? He was quiet for a moment. Honestly, respect. Not being treated like I'm less than because I'm not the manager. DeLuca used to talk down to all of us, make us feel small. If you're different, if you actually value what I bring to this place, that would help. I do value it. You're excellent with customers, you manage the flow of the dining room better than anyone, and you've trained most of our hosts. I'd be stupid not to recognize that. Sophia paused. How about this? I'd like to create an assistant manager position. Someone who handles day-to-day operations when I'm not here, who has real authority and decision-making power. Interested? Marcus's eyes widened. Are you serious? Completely. It would come with a raise and new responsibilities. You'd be my second in command. Yes. Yeah, I'm interested. Marcus smiled genuinely, for the first time since Sophia's promotion. Thank you for not just dismissing my concerns. We're a team. Teams work best when everyone feels valued. After Marcus left, Sophia allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. One potential problem diffused, one ally gained. She was learning. That evening, as she was locking up, her phone rang. Luca's name on the screen made her smile. Hey yourself. How was today? Good. I promoted Marcus to assistant manager. I think it's going to really help with the transition. Smart move. Bring your potential adversaries into the fold. Luca paused. Listen, I have something to ask you. No pressure. But, are you free tomorrow night? I could be. Why? There's a charity gala. Benefit for a children's hospital in Brooklyn. I have to go, family obligation, but it's the kind of thing that's more bearable with good company. Would you come with me? As my date. Sophia's heart jumped. A gala? Luca, I don't have anything to wear to something like that. Already handled. There's a dress shop in Soho, Bellissima Bridal and Formal. The owner, Angela, is a friend. She's expecting you tomorrow at 2. Pick whatever you want, my treat. I can't let you buy me a dress. Yes, you can. I'm asking you to attend a boring event with me. The least I can do is make sure you feel beautiful doing it. His voice softened. Please, Sophia, let me do this. She wanted to argue, wanted to maintain her independence. But there was something in his voice, not command, but request. He was asking, not demanding. Okay, she agreed. But I'm paying for my own shoes. Luca laughed. Deal. The next afternoon, Sophia found herself in the most elegant dress shop she'd ever entered. Angela, a stylish woman in her 50s, greeted her with warmth and immediately started pulling dresses. Luca said you'd be stubborn about letting him pay, Angela said with a knowing smile. So let me be clear, this is his gift and refusing would hurt his feelings. That man doesn't ask for much. Let him have this. Sophia tried on 6 dresses before finding the one. Floor-length emerald green silk that hugged her curves perfectly, with a neckline that was elegant without being too revealing. When she looked in the mirror, she barely recognized herself. That's the one, Angela said definitively. Luca's going to lose his mind. It's not too much? Honey, for where you're going, it's perfect. Angela handed her a garment bag. And take these earrings too, they match. No arguing. That evening, when Luca picked her up in a tuxedo that made him look dangerously handsome, his expression when he saw her was worth all the anxiety. Sophia. He seemed at a loss for words. You're stunning. You clean up pretty well yourself. The gala was at the Plaza, the same hotel where Emma Torres' wedding had been interrupted months ago, though Sophia didn't know that story. The ballroom was full of New York's elite. Society matrons, businessmen, politicians, all dressed to the nines and performing charity. Luca kept his hand at the small of her back as they navigated the crowd, introducing her to various people. She noticed how they treated him, with respect bordering on deference, even from people who clearly outranked him financially. That sense of danger, of power barely contained, that she'd first noticed at the restaurant. Luca Marchetti, a booming voice made them turn. A large man in his 60s approached, arms spread wide. I heard you were back in town. Sal. Luca shook his hand. Good to see you. Sophia, this is Salvatore Romano. Sal, this is Sophia Moretti. Moretti. Romano's eyes lit up. Any relation to the Morettis from Bensonhurst? My grandparents, Sophia confirmed. Good people. Good family. Romano smiled at Luca. You always did have excellent taste. As Romano moved on, Sophia leaned close to Luca. Who was that? Old friend of my grandfather's. He runs businesses in Brooklyn. Legitimate businesses? Mostly. Luca's expression was wry. Sophia, I should warn you. A lot of people here tonight have connections to my grandfather's world. If that makes you uncomfortable, I'm fine. I'm just trying to understand this world you come from. They danced. Luca was surprisingly good, leading her through a waltz with easy confidence. Being in his arms felt natural, right? Like they'd been doing this for years instead of weeks. I could get used to this, Sophia admitted. The dancing or the galas? The dancing. The galas are a bit much. Luca laughed. Agreed. Want to get out of here? I know a better place to spend our evening. They ended up at a jazz club in the village, the atmosphere completely different. Intimate, real, full of music instead of performance. They sat in a corner booth, sharing a bottle of wine, talking and laughing while a saxophonist played standards. This is better, Sophia said. Much better. Luca's hand found hers across the table. Thank you for coming tonight, for putting up with my world. I like your world. Well, parts of it. The jazz club parts, not the gala parts. I'll remember that for future dates. Future dates. Sophia smiled. Presumptuous. Hopeful. Luca's thumb traced circles on her palm. Sophia, I need to tell you something. I'm falling for you. Fast and hard and probably too soon. But there it is. And I need to know. Is there a chance you feel the same? Sophia's heart hammered. Yes, she whispered. I'm falling too. It scares me. How quickly this is happening. How much I already care. But yes. Luca's smile could have lit the whole club. Then we'll figure it out together. The speed, the complications, all of it. Together. He kissed her then. Soft and searching and full of promise. Sophia kissed him back, tasting wine and hope and the beginning of something that felt like it could be forever. When they finally broke apart, Luca rested his forehead against hers. I'm not letting you go. You know that, right? Good, Sophia said. Because I'm not going anywhere. They stayed at the jazz club until closing, then walked through the village hand in hand, talking about everything and nothing. When Luca dropped her off at her apartment, he kissed her goodnight with a tenderness that made her ache. See you tomorrow? He asked. Definitely. Sophia floated up to her apartment, where Jen was waiting with an expectant expression. Okay, you have to tell me everything. The dress, the gala, the mystery man, all of it. Sophia collapsed on the couch with a dreamy smile. Jen, I think I'm in love. Oh God, you're in deep. This is either going to be the best thing ever or a complete disaster. I know. Sophia touched her lips, still feeling Luca's kiss. But I'm willing to risk it. 3 months into managing Bella Sera, Sophia had found her rhythm. The restaurant was running smoothly, the staff respected her, and customer satisfaction scores were up 20%. Vittorio Russo called monthly to check in, and every time he praised her work. You're a natural, he said during their latest call. Best decision I've made in years, promoting you. Sophia's relationship with Luca had deepened too. They spent most evenings together, sometimes at fancy restaurants, more often at her apartment or his brownstone in Brooklyn, cooking dinner and talking for hours. He told her more about his businesses, introducing her to his world with careful honesty. She'd met his sister, Isabella, a corporate lawyer who'd grilled Sophia over wine and eventually declared her acceptable, I guess. She'd spent Sundays at Nana's with Uncle Salvatore, learning family recipes and embarrassing stories about Luca's childhood. She'd even met some of his business associates, men with hard eyes and soft voices who treated Luca with visible respect. It should have been intimidating. Sometimes it was. But mostly, Sophia felt like she was building a life, a real life, with someone who saw her, valued her, loved her. Because Luca did love her. He'd said it one night while they were watching a movie at his place, so casually that Sophia almost missed it. "I love you, you know?" Sophia had looked up from where she was curled against his chest. "What? I love you." Luca's voice was steady, certain. "I'm not expecting you to say it back. I just need you to know." But Sophia had said it back because it was true. "I love you too. So much it scares me." "Good. I'd be worried if you weren't at least a little scared. Means you understand how much this matters." On a Tuesday evening in February, Sophia was closing Bella Sera when her phone rang. Unknown number. "Hello? Sophia Moretti?" The voice was unfamiliar, male with a faint Brooklyn accent. "Yes. You're going to want to listen carefully. This is about Luca Marchetti." Sophia's blood ran cold. "Who is this?" "Someone who's interested in Mr. Marchetti's activities. Specifically, his relationship with you." The voice was calm, almost pleasant. "You seem like a nice girl. Smart, hardworking. So I'm going to give you some friendly advice. Walk away. Stop seeing Luca, cut all contact. It's for your own safety. If you're threatening me." "Not a threat. A warning. Luca's got enemies. Big enemies who don't care about collateral damage. Your collateral damage, Ms. Moretti. A weakness they can exploit. So do yourself a favor. End it before you get hurt." The line went dead. Sophia stood frozen in the empty restaurant, her hands shaking. She should call Luca, should tell him immediately. But another part of her, the part that had been managing on her own for years, wanted to handle this herself first. She locked up and headed home, her mind racing. Who would call her? Who were Luca's enemies? He told her his family had transitioned to legitimate business, that the old connections were just that, old. Had he lied? Or was there danger he hadn't mentioned? At her apartment, Jen took one look at her face and poured wine. "What happened?" Sophia told her about the call. Jen's expression shifted from concern to alarm. "Sophia, you need to tell Luca. And maybe you need to think about whether this relationship is worth the risk. You think I should break up with him? I think you need to decide if you can handle being with someone who comes with this kind of danger. Because this is real now. Not just stories about his grandfather or vague warnings. Someone actually called you." Sophia's phone buzzed. "Luca, dinner tomorrow? I want to cook for you." She stared at the message, her thumb hovering over the keyboard. Part of her wanted to tell him yes, to pretend the call hadn't happened, to stay in their bubble. But she'd told him she needed honesty. That meant being honest about this. "We need to talk. Can you come over tonight? Be there in 20. He arrived in 15, concern evident in his expression. "What's wrong?" Sophia told him about the call, every word, every implication. She watched Luca's face darken with each detail, his jaw tightening with barely suppressed rage. "Did you recognize the voice?" he asked when she finished. "No. Should I have? I'm trying to figure out who would be bold enough to threaten you." Luca paced her small living room like a caged predator. "This is exactly what I was trying to avoid. Why I've kept you separated from the business side of my life. Luca, you told me you were legitimate, that the danger was in the past. It is. Mostly." He stopped pacing, meeting her eyes. "But transitioning from my grandfather's world to legitimate business meant stepping on toes. Making enemies of people who benefited from the old arrangements. I've been handling it, keeping those conflicts away from you. But someone clearly decided to escalate. Who? I have ideas. There's a family, the Russos. Wait, Russos? As in Vittorio Russo, who owns Bella Sera. No relation. Different family. The Russos I'm talking about, they run gambling operations in Queens. My grandfather had an arrangement with them, but when I transitioned our businesses to legitimate, I cut those ties. Cost them money. They've been resentful. Resentful enough to threaten me? Maybe. Or it could be someone else entirely. Luca sat beside her, taking her hands. Sophia, I'm so sorry. I never wanted you to be scared because of me. I'm not scared, Sophia said, surprising herself with the truth. I'm angry. Some nameless asshole called to threaten me, thinking I'd just walk away from you. That's insulting. Despite the tension, Luca smiled slightly. So you're not breaking up with me? No. But I need you to be completely honest about what we're dealing with. No more protecting me by keeping me ignorant. If there's danger, I need to know the full scope. Luca was quiet for a long moment. The truth is, there are people who don't like that my family went legitimate. People who lost income when we stopped facilitating certain operations. Most of them are rational enough to understand it's just business. But a few. He paused. A few are angry enough to make problems. Usually they target me directly, business interference, legal challenges, that kind of thing. But threatening you? That's a line most wouldn't cross. But someone did. Yes. Which means I need to find out who and make it very clear that you're off limits. Luca's voice turned hard. No one threatens you and gets away with it. Luca, I don't want you doing anything illegal. I won't. But there are ways to send messages without breaking laws. I'll handle this. Over the next week, Sophia noticed increased security around her. A car that seemed to follow her to and from work. A man who was always in the coffee shop when she stopped for her morning latte. When she confronted Luca about it, he was unapologetic. You're being protected. Non-negotiable. I don't need. Yes, you do. Someone threatened you because of me. That means I protect you. End of discussion. Sophia wanted to argue, but seeing the fear underlying Luca's determination stopped her. He was terrified something would happen to her. The bodyguards were as much for his peace of mind as her safety. Okay, she agreed. But they stay subtle. I don't want customers at the restaurant thinking something's wrong. Deal. 2 weeks after the phone call, Sophia was working late at Bella Sera, reviewing vendor contracts in her office. Most of the staff had gone home. Only the cleaning crew remained. She was so focused on paperwork that she didn't hear the footsteps until someone knocked on her open door. Ms. Moretti? Sophia looked up to find a man she didn't recognize. Mid-40s, expensive suit, cold eyes that made her instinctively straighten. Can I help you? I hope so. The man entered without invitation, closing the door behind him. My name is Frank Russo. I believe you received a phone call recently. From an associate of mine. Sophia's heart hammered, but she kept her voice steady. I did, and I ignored it. The conversation is over. That's disappointing. I was hoping you'd be smart. Russo sat in the chair across from her desk, making himself comfortable. Let me be clear, Ms. Moretti. Luca Marchetti is bad for business. His transition to legitimate operations has cost me and my partners a lot of money. We'd like him to reconsider. And you, he smiled without warmth. You're leverage. I'm not leverage. I'm a person. And Luca's not going to change his business model because you threaten me. Won't he? From what I understand, he's quite fond of you. Might be willing to negotiate if your safety was at stake. If you think threatening me will work, you don't know Luca at all. Sophia stood, anger overriding fear. He'll come after you. Hard. And from what I've learned about his family, when Marchetti's come after someone, it doesn't end well for that person. Russo's smile faded. Are you threatening me? I'm stating facts. Now get out of my restaurant before I call the police. The police? Russo laughed. You think the police scare me? I have 3 precincts on my payroll. Then I'll call Luca, and you can explain to him why you're in my office. That got a reaction. Russo stood, his expression hardening. You should think carefully about your choices, Ms. Moretti. Luca can't protect you all the time. Accidents happen. He left, but the threat hung in the air like smoke. Sophia's hands shook as she pulled out her phone, dialing Luca. Hey, beautiful. He was here. Frank Russo. In my office. Silence. Then, are you hurt? No, I'm fine. Just shaken. Luca, he threatened me. Said accidents happen. Where are you now? Still at the restaurant. Lock the doors. Don't let anyone else in. I'm on my way, and I'm bringing people with me. 20 minutes later, 3 black SUVs pulled up outside Bella Sera. Luca emerged from the first one, his expression thunderous, flanked by 4 men who were obviously security. He tried the door, found it locked, and Sophia hurried to let him in. Are you okay? His hands framed her face, checking for injuries. I'm fine. He didn't touch me, just talked. What did he say? Exactly. Sophia recounted the conversation while Luca's expression grew darker. When she finished, he pulled out his phone. Marco, I need Russo's location. Now. And get me a meeting with Salvatore Romano. Tonight, if possible. He listened. I don't care if he's busy. Tell him Frank Russo threatened my girlfriend. He'll make time. After he hung up, Sophia touched his arm. Luca, what are you going to do? What I should have done the first time Russo approached me about reversing my business decisions. I'm going to make it clear that threatening you was the biggest mistake he'll ever make. Please don't do anything that will get you arrested. I won't. Luca's voice softened, and he pulled her into his arms. But Sophia, I need you to understand, you're not collateral in this. You're everything. And I will do whatever it takes to keep you safe. The meeting happened the next night at a restaurant in Brooklyn. Not Nana's, somewhere more neutral. Sophia wasn't invited, but Luca told her everything afterward. Sitting in her apartment with a glass of whiskey and a tension in his shoulders that didn't ease until she was in his arms. I met with Salvatore Romano, the man from the gala, remember? He's old school connected, respected by all the families. I told him what Russo did, how he'd threatened you. Luca took a long drink. Romano was furious. There are rules in this world, even now. Women, children, they're off limits. Russo broke those rules. What happened? Romano called a sit-down. All the major families, including Russo, made it public. Told everyone that Russo had threatened an innocent woman, you, and that it was unacceptable. That if anything happened to you, there would be consequences. What kind of consequences? The kind that end careers and lives. Luca's voice was flat. Romano basically excommunicated Russo from the families. Cut him off from protection, from connections, from everything. Russo's businesses will dry up within a month. He's done. Sophia processed this. Because of me? Because he broke the rules. You were just the catalyst. Luca set down his glass, turning to face her. Sophia, I need you to know you're safe now. Russo won't come near you. No one will. Romano put out word that you're under Marchetti protection. That means every connected family in New York knows you're untouchable. That's a lot. I know. And I'm sorry you're in this position. But it was necessary to keep you safe. Sophia was quiet for a moment, thinking about the world she'd entered. The rules and hierarchies, the violence underneath the suits and charm. It should have terrified her. Part of it did. But another part recognized the twisted logic. In a world without legal recourse, reputation and consequences were everything. And Luca had used both to protect her. Thank you, she said finally, for keeping me safe. Always. Luca pulled her close. I love you, Sophia. I'm not letting anything happen to you. They stayed like that for a long time, holding each other while the city buzzed beyond the windows. The next morning, Sophia arrived at Bella Sera to find Vittorio Russo waiting outside. He looked exhausted, older than his 60 years. Mr. Russo, I wasn't expecting you. I heard what happened. With Frank Russo. He held up his hands. No relation before you ask. I just wanted to make sure you're all right. And to apologize. Apologize for what? For bringing you into this world without warning. When I promoted you, when Luca vouched for you, I should have realized you'd become visible to the wrong people. Russo's voice was heavy with guilt. I should have protected you better. It's not your fault. Maybe not, but I feel responsible. He handed her an envelope. This is a contract for full ownership of Bella Sera. Sophia stared. What? I'm getting old. I want to retire, spend time with my grandchildren. And I've been looking for the right person to take over my flagship restaurant. Someone who cares about it, who understands it. He smiled. That's you, Sophia. The restaurant is yours if you want it. Mr. Russo, I can't afford to buy a restaurant. You're not buying it. I'm giving it to you. Payment for years of good work, and an apology for the danger you faced. He squeezed her shoulder. You've earned this. Take it. Sophia's hands shook as she opened the envelope, reading the contract. It was real. Bella Sera, the restaurant where she'd been a waitress 6 months ago, was being given to her. I don't know what to say. Say you'll make it even better than I did. Say you'll keep the staff, treat them well. Say you'll make me proud. I will. I promise. After Russo left, Sophia sat in her office, no, her restaurant now, and cried. From relief, from gratitude, from the overwhelming realization that her life had completely transformed in 6 months. When she finally composed herself, she called Luca. Hey, I have news. She told him about Russo's gift, about owning Bella Sera. There was a pause. Then Luca's laugh, genuine and delighted. That's incredible. Sophia, you deserve this. Every bit of it. I couldn't have done any of it without you. Yes, you could have. You would have gotten here eventually. I just accelerated the timeline. His voice softened. I'm proud of you. So damn proud. That evening, Luca took her to Nana's to celebrate. Uncle Salvatore cooked a feast. All of Sophia's favorites, and toasted her success with tears in his eyes. Your family now, he declared. Not just because of Luca, because you've earned it. Salute. After dinner, Luca led Sophia to the small garden behind the restaurant, where string lights twinkled overhead and the sounds of Little Italy faded to a pleasant hum. I have something for you, he said, pulling a small box from his pocket. Sophia's breath caught. Luca, let me finish before you panic. He opened the box, revealing a ring, an antique setting with a sapphire surrounded by small diamonds. This was my mother's. She gave it to me before she died, told me to give it to the woman who made me believe in family again. Luca, I'm not proposing. Not yet. I know we've only been together 6 months, and you've just been through trauma, and the timing's not right. He took her hand. But I want you to have this, as a promise, that when you're ready, when we're ready, I'm going to ask you properly, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret saying yes. Sophia looked at the ring, at the hope in Luca's eyes, at the future being offered. Can I tell you a secret? She whispered. Anything. I'm already ready. I'd say yes right now if you asked. Luca's expression shifted. Surprise, joy, love all mixing together. Really, really, I love you. I want to build a life with you. And yes, it's fast, and yes, it's complicated. But it's also right. You're right. Then, Luca dropped to one knee, and Sophia laughed through sudden tears. Sophia Moretti, will you marry me? Will you let me spend every day for the rest of our lives loving you, supporting you, protecting you, as an equal partner, not as someone to be managed or controlled? Yes, Sophia said, no hesitation. Yes, I'll marry you. Luca slid the ring onto her finger. A perfect fit, like it had been made for her, and stood to kiss her. Sophia kissed him back, tasting happiness and promise and the beginning of forever. From the restaurant's back door, she heard Uncle Salvatore start to cheer. Then the sound of glasses clinking, of laughter and celebration as news of the engagement spread through Nana's. I love you, Luca murmured against her lips. So much. I love you too. Thank you. For what? For seeing me, for defending me, for giving me a future I never imagined. Sophia touched his face. For being exactly who I needed when I needed you. I could say the same. Luca laced his fingers through hers. Come on. We have a celebration to attend. And tomorrow we start planning a wedding. They walked back into Nana's hand in hand, into warmth and family and the next chapter of their lives. Sophia thought about the path that had led her here, from struggling waitress to restaurant owner, from slapped by an abusive manager to protected by the man she loved. 6 months ago, she'd been invisible. Now she was seen, valued, loved. And it had started with the simplest act of kindness, a stranger defending her when she couldn't defend herself. Sometimes Sophia thought that's all it took. One moment of someone seeing your worth and refusing to let it be diminished. One moment that changed everything. 1 year later, Bella Sara's reopening after renovations drew a crowd. Sophia had spent 3 months modernizing the kitchen, updating the dining room, and training new staff. But she'd kept the heart of the restaurant intact, the authentic Italian menu, the warm atmosphere, the commitment to treating employees with respect. Ready. Luca appeared at her side, looking devastating in a dark suit. Nervous, Sophia admitted. What if people don't like the changes? They'll love it. You made it better while keeping what made it special. Trust yourself. The doors opened and people flooded in. Regular customers, new faces drawn by positive press coverage, and even some of Luca's business associates looking for a good meal. Sophia worked the room, greeting guests, checking in with her staff, making sure everything ran smoothly. Marcus, now assistant manager and part owner after Sophia had offered him equity, handled the front of house with smooth efficiency. Jessica had been promoted to head server and was training new hires. The kitchen, under Chef Antonio's leadership, was producing food that had critics raving. You did it, Vittorio Russo said when he arrived with his wife. You took my restaurant and made it better. I'm proud of you, Sophia. Thank you for giving me the chance. It had been 2 months ago, in a small ceremony at the church in Little Italy where Luca's parents had married, surrounded by family and friends. Sophia's mother had cried. Uncle Salvatore had made a toast that went on for 15 minutes, and Luca had looked at her like she was the only person in the world. They'd honeymooned in Sicily, visiting the villages Luca's and Sophia's grandparents had come from, eating incredible food, making love in a villa overlooking the Mediterranean. It had been perfect. Now they lived in Luca's brownstone in Brooklyn, building a life that balanced her restaurant management with his shipping business. They cooked dinner together most nights, spent Sundays at Nana's, and were talking about starting a family in a year or two. How's married life? Jessica asked during a brief lull. Perfect. Sophia touched the wedding band that sat above her engagement ring. Challenging sometimes, but perfect. And the whole mafia thing doesn't freak you out? Sophia laughed. It did at first. But Luca's businesses are completely legitimate now. The only thing left from his grandfather's era is respect and connections. Which honestly just means we get good tables at restaurants and people return his calls. Must be nice. It has its perks. Thank Luca. He's the one who vouched for you. Russo smiled. Speaking of which, congratulations on the wedding. I heard it was beautiful. As the evening wound down and the last customers left, Sophia walked through the empty dining room, taking in her restaurant. Her dream, realized through a combination of hard work, lucky breaks, and being defended by the right man at the right time. Proud of yourself? Luca appeared behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. Yeah, I really am. Sophia leaned back against him. Thank you for everything. You did this yourself. I did it because you believed I could. Because you saw potential in a waitress who got slapped by her manager. I saw a woman with dignity and strength. The rest was already there. I just helped clear the obstacles. Sophia turned in his arms, looking up at her husband. I love you. Have I mentioned that today? Once or twice. But I never get tired of hearing it. Luca kissed her softly. I love you too. Ready to go home. Our home. I'm still getting used to saying that. You'd better get used to it. We're stuck with each other for the next 60 years minimum. They locked up Bella Sara and walked out into the Brooklyn night, hand in hand. A year ago, Sophia had been a struggling waitress with dreams, she wasn't sure would ever materialize. Now she was a restaurant owner, a wife, a woman building the life she'd always wanted. All because a stranger in an expensive suit had refused to let her be disrespected. Sometimes the universe sent you exactly what you needed, Sophia thought. Sometimes it sent you a man who would defend you when you couldn't defend yourself, who would see your potential and help you achieve it, who would love you not for what you could give him, but for who you were. She'd gotten lucky. She'd worked hard too, but she'd definitely gotten lucky. "What are you thinking about?" Luca asked as they drove through Brooklyn. "About how different my life is now. About how one moment, you defending me against DeLuca, changed everything. Butterfly effect. Small moments, big consequences." "The best consequences," Sophia corrected. "I got you. I got Bella Sarah. I got a future I didn't dare imagine. We got each other. That's the important part." Luca squeezed her hand. "Everything else is just details. Good details, though. The best." They arrived home. Their brownstone in Carroll Gardens, with its garden and its history and its promise of future. And Sophia felt complete. This was her life now. Her home, her husband, her restaurant, her future. And it had started with the simplest thing. Someone seeing her worth and refusing to let it be diminished. Sometimes that's all it takes to change a life. Sometimes that's everything.